Right? We discussed about motion, looks, sound, events category, and control. Right? Those we discussed in last session, and we are going to discuss about sensing operators variables. Right? Now I am going to show you how this sensing method is works. What is sensing method? Sensing method, they can be used to determine the location of the mouse pointer, right? Sensing method in mouse pointer, where the mouse pointer in, where the mouse pointer in, we can set this mouse pointer area, y axis and x axis, right? We can determine, and its distance for other sprites. If we choose two sprites, if we choose two sprites, we can identify the sprite's distance, right? If we choose two sprites, we can identify, wait a minute, in some noises from my side, therefore please wait 2 minutes. I will continue the lesson after 2 minutes. Right. I'm going to add new sprite, this one. We can also change the size here, like you know very well. And I want to know this distance of the two sprites, right? The sensing method used to determine location of mouse pointer and distance from this sprite and other sprites, and whether as sprite is touching another sprite. When I touching, this is sensing, this is the 10 sensing tools. Therefore when I touch the sprite, it knows the sprite touched, therefore it works because the sensing method, right? Now I am going to see this two sprites distance. Now first of all I have to start when clicked, right? When click method. After that, waiting option, events, and sensing, touching mouse pointer, and wait 1 second and ask ask touching mouse pointer. When I touch the mouse pointer, it will say, wait, sorry, touching distance, right? Sorry, I want to know the distance. When I click the start button, wait 1 second, and after that ask the distance to the mouse pointer equal the distance between the two sprites. When I click the start, yes, it says 201. This is the distance of this two sprite, right? When I click the this sprite, we have to add the same code from this, right? Therefore we can see this sprite distance from this sprite. When I going to do this same settings from this sprite to this sprite, when I click to start, when I click to start, sprite 1, right? It will change the distance value by 227 because I changed the distance mouse pointer to Abby. When I click mouse pointer in here, it says the different from the mouse pointer to this sprite, and I changed the another sprite in here. Therefore, it says distance from the other sprite, right? When I going to do this condition, when I click wait 1 second and ask the distance, Abby, right? Abby, it says this sprite called Abby, right? Ask the distance this sprite to this sprite is this one. When I change the mouse pointer, right, and run, it says different because the mouse pointer from here, I click here and change the mouse pointer distance. This is the touching and distance we are done from here sensing method, right? After that, operators. Operators blocks, they coded light green, right? And used to script method, right? We are going to some equations from meths, right? In meths equations, we are choosing from operators block, right? And it was previously titled numbers block, right? I told you these are the blocks in this block palette. In the old version of it has numbers block, right? Numbers block. Version of Scratch has numbers block. The numbers blocks changed by operators, right? Replaced by operators block in the latest version of the Scratch. Now we are not choosing numbers block. This is the numbers block in the last previous versions. The latest version has operators block, right? Operators blocks used to math operations in here, right? After that, I will show you operators method and variables method into two methods in one example. And after that, variables. What is variable method? Variables can only hold one value at a time, right? when we are going to set one variable, right? We can set under the variables category. We can make new variable by touching this one, right? When I touch this one, it asks, right? It's ask new variable, right? I want to create new variable. This is option we have for all sprites or this sprite only. When I click this all sprite and click OK, the variable going to apply all the sprites. When I choosing other sprites here, I can use this variable in other sprites also, right? Otherwise, we can create variable for this sprite only. When I click the radio button for this sprite only, the variable works only this sprite, right? This is the variable tools in here, right? Variables can only hold one value at a time. At one time we can store, right? Variables locally store some values, right? Store some values at one time. This value can be used numbers or string, right? We can store the value numbers or string, right? Numbers, do you know numbers? String, what do you mean by string? What do you mean by string? String is called letters. I'm typing here, this is string, right? Letters we are calling in programming as string, right? This is number, right? Number, and letters only we are calling as string, right? Variables can only hold one value at one time, and the values can be store numbers or string. We can store under this variable numbers, and we can store string as this variable, right? Now I'm going to do some sample for the operators and variables. First of all, we have to add when flag button clicked, right? After that, I'm using sensing method, right? Sensing method ask, right? The sprite asks something, right? When I it asks what's your name here, right? When I click the when click button, it's ask what's your name, right? We can change into this string. We can change the enter the first number. Enter first number, right? When I clicked, it asked enter first number, right? And wait. After that, I'm going to assign a variables, right? I want to program by multiplication program, right? When I going to enter first number and after going to second number, I want to answer multiplication of the number one and number two, right? This is the problem I have to solve now. And in this case, how many variables I want to create? Anyone? This is the problem I have. What's the problem? I have to input one number and I have to input second number, and I want to multiplication first number and second number into answer, right? What I told you in the variables can hold a value at one time, right? When I hold one value at one time, right? Then I have to hold one value, number one, ask first number, right? I have to hold the value, serve, right? Storing something. We can store anything, numbers or string in variables. This is number. I have to store first number, right? Therefore, I want to one variable for number one. Number one, right? For this sprite, for all sprite, and for this sprite, whichever you want. I select for all sprites. Okay, right? Number one. After that, I want to ask number two, right? I want to ask number two. Therefore, I want to store new number two for all sprite, and it asks number one. When I going to press 5, it store from number one, right? After that, it will ask number two, and I going to put second number. It's going to store number two, right? After that, I want the answer, multiply number one and number two, and put the answer into total, right? I have to store the total. Therefore, I want to make new variable called as total, right? This is the method by calculating something, right? Then ask enter first number and set under the variables category, set value, right? I want to set something in here. Set my variable to 0. What do you mean by set my variable to 0? In here, default, they have only one my variable for sample, right? You can create lots of variable under this one. I want to set number one. I want to set number one variable to 0, right? When I going to start, the number variable store 0 value, right? But I want to store something asking number, right? This is default 0 value, and I can change the number to 20 or 15 or 100 something. When I going to enter this one, when I run this, it's also store number one variables to 100. Now number one variable has 100, but I don't need this because want to enter the number. After that, when the user enter the number, that number I have to store number one. So ask enter the first number, right? It will ask enter the first number. When I going to do 10 and press enter, I want to store in here, right? I want to store the number one variable. So this is the question. I want to know the answer, right? Therefore, sorry, in the sensing, under the sensing category, it was the answer option. When I drag and drop the answer option, right? Now, okay, when I going to enter first number, the number one variable store the answer. The answer was that I'm going to enter first number 6. When I going to touch enter here, number one 6, it stored. I clear number one 6. When I going to press enter and put the value as 10 and press enter, number one changed by 10, sorry, replaced by 10. Why? Because variables can only hold one value at a time, right? Only one value can hold at the time. I have to run again and change the value 16 and press enter. It will change to by 16 because the one value can store at one time, right? After that, I am going to add second number, right? I want to ask second number, no? Therefore, choose to sensing method and ask second number, right? I want to change this question as enter second number, right? Also set second number to second answer. Therefore, I'm going to under the variables category and choose the set option and set the variable. Which variable I want to store the value? I want to store the value under the number 2 variable. Number 2 variable to which one? I want to store this answer into this value. This answer into this value. So I want to choose answer option, right? Answer. Answer into this one, right? Into this answer. After that, I want to know the output. What's the mean by output? I want to multiplication or addition, whatever you want. Now I'm going to choose multiply number 1 and number 2, right? And because first number, second number stored here, right? Third also I want to store. Therefore, I need some variable for total, right? And set again, and I want to store the answer to the variable because otherwise we can't see. We want to store something, right? After that, we can see the output. I'm going to store under the total variable, right? And what do you want, right? uh, in next 10 minutes the session will be end. Therefore join after 10 minutes again, right? Now I'm going to store the answer to the total. What I have to store, right? I want to first number into second number, the answer. The set option have total under the total variable. What do you want to store this one? What do you want this one? I want to store answer 1 and multiple by answer 2, right? How do you add this? How do you add? In this case, we have to choose operators category. We have to choose operators category, right? This is the option. You can choose addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. You can add whatever you want. In this case, I want to multiple two numbers, right? Because first number, two number. I want to multiple two number, right? I'm going to drag and drop into this answer, right? Because I don't need to store under total under the total variable to 0. I don't need to. Wait a minute. Right. I don't need to store in total to 0. I want to store number 1 answer multiple by number 2 answer store in here under the total, right? Therefore, I select operators method because I want to multiple two numbers, right? You can add this if you want, right? I'm going to add this one into this answer. This answer will be going to store this variable. So I'm going to drag and drop into this one, right? What do you want to multiple in here? Which one you are going to multiply here, right? Answer to answer. This is same answer and answer multiple. We can multiple? No, we can't. We no need to multiple answer to answer. What do you want to multiple by? I want to multiple by number one. The user going to enter number one. So I'm going to multiple number one and number two. Therefore, I want to enter number one into number two. How to add this number, right? When the user enter the number, it will store under the variables category. Therefore, I want to choose number one and number two, right? Number one and number two, right? In this case, set total variable to number one into number two, right? This is multiply and store the value into total. After that, I want to show something, right? In this case, the sprite didn't show anything, right? Therefore, I want to show something. So how to tell? In the looks, under the looks option, show something, say something. It say, right? I want to say this number, no? Therefore, I want to add here, right? In this case, I'm choosing joining option, right? Joining option, joining option, right? When I going to join option, I want to join two things in here, right? What do you mean by two things? If you want, I'm going to select answer is one thing. Answer is. The answer. What's the answer? Answer is stored total. Number one and number two multiple by and store the total variable. So the answer served under the total variable. So I have to choose the answer is, when I click this one, its answer is banana, right? See, enter first number I'm going to ask, enter the second number, I'm going to second choose 2 and press enter. Answer is banana. Why? 5 seconds. Why answer is banana? It says join to answer is and banana. Like, I don't need to say this. I want to say the total. So therefore, I want to add this total variable in here. Drag and drop here. Is it clear? Total variable. Right. When I click this one, it's at the first number. I'm going to 10. It asks second number 5 and press enter. The number one, first number 10, second number 5, 10 into 5, 50, right? It says for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, it will remove, right? Try one thing and this store number one 10. Now I run as number one 10, number two 5, answer 50, right? I told you the variable can store one inputs at once, right? When I going to change this again, it store the different numbers in here, right? Therefore I add something. First number 10, last program. Now I'm going to type 25, right? When I going to enter here, it's changed and replaced by 25, right? Last time it stored 10, right? Last time it stored 5. Now I'm going to change 10. Enter the 10 and press enter. It's changed 10, right? Answer is 25. Sorry, 250, right? The answer says for 5 seconds. This is the program that we used in sensing operators and also variables, right? This going to end this session. Connect again. Right now, right, I can't remember. uh, um, it has a under the block palette, pen palette, right? One of the tools, pen. I taught you or not? I taught you pen block. If anyone, I can't remember that. If I didn't, please tell me. I will explain the pen block. Anyone?